don't have mine glued in. Whoops. Can someone remind me real quick, what does a bisector do? Cuts in half. Thank you, Christian. It absolutely does. Bisect. Bi meaning two, sect meaning pieces. So a bisector cuts something into two even pieces. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Cool. We already did bisectors yesterday, right? Yeah, kind of. But we were just bisecting a line, so we were splitting a length. Today we're going to be splitting an angle measure. Okay, you guys have learned about angles before, right? Yeah? If I have an angle that looks like this, what type of angle is that? Acute. What about this? Right? If there's a little square. What about this? Obtuse. Okay, what about this? Don't look. What is this type of angle called? A line? A straight angle. Everybody say straight angle. Okay, how many degrees do you think a straight angle is? 0? 180. It's the full half circle. Okay? I'm going to take this down before the test. So you have to memorize that. Not that that matters. Scalene, that's a type of triangle. I think. Yeah, right here. So, angle bisectors, they cut an angle in two congruent parts, right? We're going to construct our own using a protractor. Here's how we're going to do it. Three easy... you might need a protractor. Yeah, okay, I'll pause it. Please do not use these as, like, ninja stars or any sort of harmful... You were just the person I'm standing in front of. There's no particular reason why I'm telling you to promise.
I gotta study my
You do promise, right?
Yes, I promise. What's your
You gotta say I promise. Okay, thank you.
Oh, mine is
Good.
lemon bar, guys.
Great advice. Here you go, Victoria.
Is that how you use it?
You're welcome. All right, everybody hold up your protractor real quick. You good? Yep, staying with us? Okay. This is really important we're paying attention to so we know how to do this. Passing them back. Prabjot? You guys got them? Okay, good. Yeah. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this let's take this first angle. Right? Again, what type of angle does this look like? Right. Looks like a right angle. Do we know for a fact it's a right angle? No. Let's find out if it is or not. We're going to take our little protractor. Make sure your numbers are on the right side. If you look and say, hey, my numbers are backwards, well, your protractor's backwards. Just flip it around, okay? So what we're going to do, see this little point right here? It's the center of the bottom edge of my protractor. Everybody see that? That's where our vertex is going to be. So I'm going to make a little dot at my vertex for my angle. All right? And I'm going to line up as best as I can. That dot right there. And I'm going to line up the bottom edge of my protractor. So the physical bottom flat edge of my protractor is going to go directly over the bottom flat line of this angle. Do you guys see what I'm talking about? Again, some of us already know this, some of us don't, so we're going to talk about it. Okay. What I can now do is tell by the numbers all the way around my protractor how wide this angle opens up, right? So I look up here. Here are all my angle measures. There's my little arrow. You can kind of see it peeking through. How many degrees does it look like this angle is? 90 degrees. See how here's 90. It lines up directly on that line. Perfectly. Right? Anthony, stay with us. Okay? Now a bisector is going to cut this 90-degree angle in two equal parts. So think about it. How big should each of these smaller angles be? Think about it for a second. How big, everybody, should each angle be? 10? Well, it's 90 degrees, right? And if I'm cutting it into 2 equal pieces, 45. That's a great guess. You're absolutely right. If I take 90 and cut it in half, what's half of 90? 45. So here's what I'm going to do. While it's lined up, everything's still lined up the same way, I'm going to find 45 on my protractor. It's going to be in between 40 and 5, right? Which lines up with 130 and 140. So directly in between that, at this little notch here, that's going to be 45. I'm going to make a dot, tiny little dot, right there, directly in between 40 and 50. Everybody see how I did that? Here's 40, there's 50. It's going to be in between here, so in between 130 and 140, 45 degrees right there. Notice how my line is still lined up, my angle's still lined up, my bottom edge is still on that bottom line, and my vertex of the angle is right there in the bottom center. Everybody got that dot drawn? Yeah. Okay, now we're going to take our protractor away, and we're going to connect that point we made to the vertex. Here's the vertex. There's the point. I'm going to make a nice ray through that. Boom. I'm going to come by and see how all yours are looking. Good. Nice. Looks great. Looks great. Make sure you're using the protractor edge to draw the line. It's got to be straight. Okay. Good. Whoa. Interesting. Good, good. 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 Nice. Good. So now, make sure the line is straight. You have a protractor with a flat edge, so use that color. You would use a rule, right? Nice. Good job. Good job. Nice. Good. 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 Great. So now check this out, right? If I take my protractor, line it back up at the center, does that bisector go through 45 degrees? Yeah, here's 40, there's 50, and it's directly in the middle. If I look out to my lines, directly lines up in between 40 and 50 degrees. What we're going to do now is we're going to mark these 2 angles. I'm going to hit it with one of these with a little line through it. And I'm going to hit this other one with a little one of these with a line through it. When I use the same angle marker on 2 angles, what does that tell me about the angles? They're the same. They're congruent. What angle measure were each of these tiny angles again? 45. I'm going to mark 45 and 45. What was my whole angles measure again? 90. How can I mark a 90-degree angle? With a little square in the corner. So I'm going to hit it with a little square down there as well. Right? So I've marked how big my whole angle is. I've marked how big each of my congruent angles is. I really only have to write 45 degrees once if I have those identical angle markers in there. Okay? Give me a thumbs up if that seems okay to you. Okay, we're going to try it again. This time without a 90-degree angle. We're going to go here. Now, this angle, I don't have a flat bottom like my right angle. What should I do? Maybe turn the paper? It's a good idea. I'm going to do that. So now we're going to the left, right? I'm going to line up my center again. Boom, boom, right there. All right. Based on my protractor and hopefully your protractor's reading, how many degrees would you say this angle is?
50.
50. Why not? I see it lines up at 130. Why is it not 130? It lines up at 130, right? Am I tripping?
Yeah.
It's right there. Why isn't it 130? Liana.
Because it's only like the first half of a thing.
What do you mean by that?
Like the first row is measuring 1 through 180, and like the second row is through 360 or like 0. So it would need to be like at least 180 degrees before we like use that part.
Good. I love your thinking. It's definitely on the right track, right? Let's take this away. We talked about the 4 types of angles. What type of angle is this? Acute. Well, how big are acute angles? Less than 90. So is it possible for an acute angle to measure in at 130 degrees? No, that's how we know it's not 130. Right? Whether an angle opens up to the right or opens up to the left, that changes what lines we're looking at, okay? Just use your common sense. If it's an acute angle, it cannot be 130, therefore it must be 50. So if this is a 50-degree angle and I wanted to bisect it or cut it in half, how many degrees should each mini angle be? 25? How'd you get 25? 50 divided by 2. I'm going to find 25 on my outer edge here. Here's 20, there's 30, 25's in the middle. Again, I haven't moved my protractor at all. I'm keeping it secure. My fingers are losing blood. I'm keeping it pressed down so hard just so I don't mess up. I'm going to find 25. I'm going to make a dot on the outside, right? I'm not putting a dot on the protractor. I'm marking it right outside or right above the curve of my protractor. I'm moving it away, letting the blood return to my fingers. And then I'm going in with my straight edge to connect the vertex with that point I just made. Look at that beautiful bisector. Now I can go back in once again with my protractor, line it up how I had it, and confirm, yes, I did make a 25-degree angle by splitting that 50-degree angle directly in half, also known as bisecting it, right? I'm going to mark my angles. It doesn't matter what angle marker you use as long as it is the same. How many degrees was that little angle again? 25. What's the entire angle again? 50. Am I going too fast?
No.
Okay. Faster. How about you try these last 2 on your own? If you're using a pen, I'd recommend using a pencil just in case. If you need a pencil, let me know. I have a bunch of pencils. You might mess up, and that's okay. It's called practice. Give those last 2 ones a try. See if you can figure out.
I think it's a carrot.
Correct. You can cut any number in half. It doesn't have to be an even number. Close. I got 22 for the whole one. You make sure that the middle point was directly on this. Oh, it should be fine. The bisector looks good. Just make sure it's the right degree. Check it again. Let's see. 80 degrees is almost the right angle.
Oh, 105. Yeah. What's half of that?
So take a look at the sermon. Do these two pizza slices look the same size?
What?
Do these look like they're the same width? This part of the angle and this part?
Yeah.
This side doesn't look a little skinnier than this side?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So try this one again. See if we can make sure that the center is at the bottom, and then we're lined up like that. Yeah. And then see what the total angle is, and then divide by 6. Nice. Good job. Oh, that's fine. You can do a single line, you can do a line with a little hash, you can do a double line, you can do a triple line. Yeah? Ah, perfect. So, one of these lines has to be a flat bottom. It's nice when we already have one, but if not, I'm gonna make it this one. So this bottom, the physical bottom edge here needs to line up perfectly with this whole ray on the bottom. So first things first, we go with that line. Now we need to line up the center point with the vertex. So all the way down. So my center point is lined up with the vertex, and my protractor is flat on that line. You see that? So now I can see what's the angle measurement. So it's a little bit past 20. How many notches past 20? So 20 degrees would be right here at this notch. So we go 1, 2 more. What's that whole degree right there? Yeah, it's 22. So I'm going to line back up. What you need to do is you need to find what's half of 22. 11. So you need to find, here's 5, 10, 11. Not like that. We mark that. That's definitely flat. So try it. Line it up how I just had it line it. So don't draw it. Just want to see line it up. The center point of the vertex and the flat. So this center point needs to get the vertex. All the way down. Keep going. Move it away, right? That needs to line up there. And it's lined up. I'm going to make sure this is flat. See that? That's what we should do. So now we're lined up at 22, you go to 11, and you make a dot, and then you can take it away. But once you have it in position, you want to hold it in position until you get all yeah. So you want to make it, so it's about 22. So if I go to 10 and then one more, so that'll be 11. That's
You can erase though.
$75 for the whole thing or for this portion? So a 90-degree angle looks like this, right? So if it's past that, it's got to be more than 90, right? So let me see. Show me how you did it with the protractor. How you got this?
Wait, so just we have 552.1.
I see. So you were looking directly into 270. You need to be looking between 100 and 110 because it's more than 90. Yeah, that's the tricky part. But the first thing, like mentally, before you put the protractor down, go, is this obtuse or is it acute? That way you know what range of
The same thing. Same answer.
yeah. Let's take a look, shall we?
Hey. Yeah, I'm lost for words right now.
Oh, seriously, how's your second one look?
Are you serious? My second?
Oh, this one was better. Good job. All right. So I was just telling this to, I think it was Melanie. I was telling it to someone, and it's kind of a good thing to keep in mind, right? Before you even start, is this angle acute or obtuse? Acute. I know right away that my full angle has to be less than what? 90. I'm going to keep that in mind, okay? I'm going to take my protractor. I'm going to line the bottom edge up with one of my lines. Doesn't matter which one. And then I'm going to slide it until my center of the protractor lines up with the vertex, right about there. And then I'm just going to drop this down. I'm going to tweak it a little bit so that they're both lined up how they should be. Just like, nope, I messed it up because I moved away. Just like that. Or like that. Okay. It keeps moving. This is annoying. Okay, there we go. I'm not going to move it. You see my fingers turning white. Well, it's already white. But where does it line up on the protractor? 22. All right, so this whole thing is 22 degrees. That means half this angle must be what? 11. Why did I move it? Let's try that again. I said it might be 23. I don't know. I didn't do it.
That's 22.
It is 22. Let me show you something interesting, right? Some people got 22. Some people got 23. If you are not precise with this, you're going to get something slightly off. Let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, here everything's lined up, right? I'm lined up with the flat edge. My vertex and the center point are lined up. Everybody see 22? Marked right there, 22. If I were to slide this center point up and away from the vertex just a little bit, what is my protractor reading now? 27. That's way off from 22, right? If I go back down like midway, what's my protractor reading now? 25. That's why it's extremely important that my center of the protractor is lined up with the vertex. Otherwise, we're not getting a measure of the angle. We're getting a misread, right? So I need to line up both things perfectly, hold it down, take the measurement, 22. I'm going to mark 11. There's 10. 11's one more after that. And I'm going to go through these just like that. When we take our tests on this next Wednesday, I will be sitting there with your tests and a protractor making sure your angles are right. If you are like 2 degrees off, it is not correct. I'll figure out what percent error I want to consider acceptable and I'll let you know. But if you if you say this is 24 degrees, no, 23 I might be okay with, but 24 definitely not. All right. All right, these are each 11 degrees. I'm going to mark one of them and give them little matching symbols. It's an 11, my bad. And there we go. We bisected that angle. Give me a thumbs up. Yours looks like mine. Nice. Good. Now this one, obtuse or acute? Obtuse. So it's got to be greater than what? 90. I know it's going to be greater than 90. I'm going to line it up. Boom, right there. Okay. And I look, I look at the outside and it tells me 75. Is it possible for this angle to be 75 degrees? No, because it's obtuse. So I must need to look in the middle down here. What's directly in between 100 and 110? 105. All right. Well, what is half of 105?
55.
Close, 52.5. So I'm going to go to 50, right, which is also 130. I'm going to go 51, 52, and then directly in between 52 and 53 must be 52.5. There's my dot. I'm going to connect it to my vertex, and I'm going to verify it. I'm going to line it back up. I'm going to look at it, and it's 52.5 just about. There's what my image should look like. Something like that. Right? When you're doing your angle measure markers, it could be a triple line, it could be a single line, double line, a line with a hash, a line with two hashes. It could be any of those things. Right? It just depends on what you want to do. Alrighty? How do we feel about this? Thumbs up? Seems okay? Seems doable? Thumbs sideways? Seems kind of hard? Thumbs down? Not good. Alright, we're going to get plenty of practice.